Good morning, everyone. Perfect time for an early spring walkabout. Wanted to update you on what we've been up to, take a look at how the weather's changed things this year, and just take a look at the progress and the phenology and what the state of the plants are right now. So let's go. Ready to go walkabout? Come on, let's go. Let's go. Just to give you an idea, here's some Haskap, earliest blooming, and they're some of them are almost starting. Almost starting. Our onions, Egyptian onions, they're up nicely already. Been able to get quite a lot of work done. This is an interesting row because we left some of the tallest trees in this area on these. So we left one row with tall trees, but we did a lot of pruning this year. You can see some of the honey locusts, they've been really brought back, and some of the pear, which were pretty high already, they've been brought down. So we spent probably 3 weeks pruning already this year. Oh, this one's a little more advanced. Still, look at that, a flower open. To give you an idea, we're almost Mother's Day. The progress is about right on. We're right on schedule. Some wild ramps, wild garlic. That's nice. Like to have more of that. And so, yeah, we spent a lot of time doing some pruning this year. That was a big one. Oh, this one too is quite advanced. It almost froze. Maybe it did freeze in some spots of the farm last night. It almost froze, but it was cool. It was cool. The weather's been kind of crazy. We had 2 weeks ago, we had a spell of really frosted weather. It was -4, -5 every night for 4 or 5 nights. It got cold enough that the pool had defrosted, and I actually had to break the ice to go in the pool one morning. So yeah, that was unusual. Haven't had that happen before, that the pool refreezes. But I still went in. It doesn't matter, whatever the temperature. The trees are starting, and they've just broken bud the last couple of days. Here's a pear, and just breaking bud. We had on the weekend, we had hit 20 degrees. That's 70 degrees for those of you in the south. 70 degrees. That's been a nice change. But then it goes back to this week. We're pretty well in the below 10 degrees. I think we hit 10 yesterday in the sun. Oh, here's a branch that got pruned but got lodged and I didn't see it. But yeah, a lot of pruning, and also really nice to see the progress of young plants. Here's a young gooseberry and a young Haskap. We had put in a lot of shrubs in this area some years ago, and it's nice to see them finally coming up. So for those of you who are thinking, yeah, you know, I planted and not much is happening, give it some time. But you know, if you don't plant, you won't harvest. If you don't sow, you won't reap. It's a law. It's a universal law of the universe. Sowing and reaping. You gotta sow to reap. You gotta plant to harvest. So get planting. This is a perfect time of year to get planting. Not the best time, but it's a good time. Hey, good, better, best. You can still plant things even if you're further south from us. We're in southwestern Quebec in Canada. So spring is, we have snow expected still, a chance of snow later this week. Quite the scene this morning. Just about Mother's Day. Ice pellets and a snow squall. So the trees and the plants are used to some weather being snowy. That's all right. Even though there's green grass, it's grown a little bit. That's nice. And some of the early spring plants. But one other thing I wanted to show you was note where it's green. You see, if you look up, oh, that one, yeah, that's an exception. That pear tree's early, but honey locust, there's nothing going on. See, the buds are completely, oh, a little swelling of that bud. A tiny swelling of the bud. Let's get that in focus. See that little bit of swelling, but it's still tight. If you're gonna put in a permaculture orchard or a food forest, you gotta realize you are putting in what seems like a forest. And so your plants that you put in below them should be spring plants. So what are your spring plants? Well, things like onions, things like garlic chives. Go see my top 10 perennials because this is definitely a real top one. Daylilies, they got dinged pretty hard. They're looking really yellow. Those frosty nights were too much or borderline for it. Oh, look at that, even some trash. I still can't get over how many people throw out trash or just throw it out. And the roadsides had trash for a while. We started to put a little bit of few brush piles in the orchard as we prune. I usually didn't like that. Still don't. Well, still may not be a great idea to have a brush pile. Mainly because the rodents, especially the voles, use that in the winter and they hide under there. And so, I'm not sure that's a great thing, but we do get birds want to nest in here so badly that they'll nest under anything, so they may use that. Look at these gooseberries. Wow. That's really, oh, there's some flowers. Not ready to pop yet, but the buds are forming. Let me get rid of this trash in my pocket. Hey, Bo. I've also been able to borrow a tractor from a neighbor. And that's a nice thing about having neighbors with a lot of tractors around is they don't always need them all. So I've been able to push these brush piles. See, these piles were all the way out to here. So with the tractor, I've been able to push them up against the fence. And so it gives us a little bit more room, there's lots of plants that had started in here. See, these are young, looks like a young cherry, a young honeysuckle, probably. And so gives a chance to some of these plants to get growing, but also gives us more room, more capacity for more branches when we prune, because we couldn't put many branches in here. This year we had no room. And it also makes this more attractive to birds. So this was a good time. Birds, some of them have started to nest. So the birds like when the piles are thick and high. Yeah, it looks nice and green, that's for sure. Nice and green. But not much. Here's one of the early apples. That's popped a little bit. We have our last two rows, 9 and 10. We've left most of these honey locust pruned, but left them high. So they're getting pretty high. Those are gotta be 10 or 12 meters high already. This will be for we're gonna eventually, I'm not sure about this summer, but plan to put a treetop trail through that. So that should be interesting. that should be neat. We did quite a lot of pruning in here too. Pruning, a lot of pruning. Some of the areas needed to be pruned for a while. Here too. Look at the soil underneath these brush piles. I mean, look at that. That's beautiful for our sand. That's sand with a lot of organic matter, and the organic matter was really all old branches. So the small branches fall apart. Some of the bigger ones are there for a while, but the small ones become just really nice organic matter, even though we pushed them. And so that opens up an area. The birds have been back. It's nice to see them back. The geese are gonna be leaving. They should be. They should leave the first week of May. They're hanging around a bit, but the geese are still here. This is their last stage. The St. Lawrence Valley is their last stage before they head far north. But the spring birds have started. Some of the early ones have started. Here's an apple too. That's advanced bud break. You can see the flower clusters in there. They're not poking out their head too fast because, well, they know that this isn't something to be played with. Got some sumac invaded this part of the orchard. And actually I'm trying to see if sumac is a great pioneer. So seeing if sumac will actually help improve the soil here faster than what else we've been trying, which is really with the nitrogen fixing trees. For those of you, I hope to do a video just on the nitrogen fixers, but here's Russian olive, but that tree too isn't doing great. Certainly the honey locust, the black locust, so here's honey locust. Black locust are over there a little more. We did a round last fall in here of planting. This is pretty thin in here. This is pretty poor soil. We had the chickens in here, and we replanted this area with more plum trees. We grafted. Sebastian and Melody did a round of grafting, so there was some bud graft last year. We'll see. A lot of those should take. It was good timing. Getting back to the birds. So it's nice to see so many swallows, bluebirds. Oh, no more suet in there. Got another bee box, not this one, in the other biotope. Got another bee box done and filled up. That's the new bee box in here. We got to put it up in here, find place. We got so many bee boxes already, but we'll find room for it. Whew, that wind is cool this morning. You don't feel it, I do. Especially after coming out of the pool this morning, it was cool. Here you go. Take a look at this great soil. See that? We got some ants. Ants are taking over here the job of worms because it's just too sandy and too poor for worms. Worms like it where there's some organic matter. Ants like it where it's open. Go see that ant video as an indicator, and they're really just ecological replacement to worms. Some of the rhubarb popping up. Well, here's nice to see. So that's an older graft from a few years ago. That was a crown graft. Take this, that was the rootstock. So this was a rootstock, pretty big. and we could graft it. So we cut the whole tree down here. We left a couple of branches to cull the sap here, and we did a crown graft, two grafts, or probably did 3. One didn't take, but 2 did. And so these will replace, instead of just a rootstock. So yeah, it's nice to see that, you know, you work, and then eventually you start to see the results of all that work. So for those of you who aren't too sure, I don't know, you know, it doesn't seem to move much. I've just started planting, and yeah, nothing seems. Give it a chance, give it some time. Here was a whole round we put in of these Haskap about 3 years ago. They were tiny little, we did mist bed propagation. Maybe I'll do a video on mist bed propagation, but it was a tiny bed, tiny plant, and now they're even flowering, and they'll produce some fruit this year. I think those will be for the first time. Yeah, this is nice. We haven't selected or cut out the rootstock out of these, but there's one. James did a nice job of painting all the grafts, so that makes it so much easier. Maybe some of these will have to come back and repaint them. There's one. I have only 2 of these plums, which is Green Gage, Reine Claude in French. Well, this one's popping a lot more. Aronia berry. Why? Because it's not totally a understory, but definitely you can get an idea of which shrubs are used to growing in some shade. Here's the cassis black currant. Here's a trick. If ever you're not sure, is this black currant? I don't know, I have this shrub. Black currant, super easy. Take a leaf, smell it. Oh yeah, it's got a smell to it. So that's black currant. And you say, well, you know, a leaf is easy, but you can even take just a bud before they pop open. You take just a little bud and just crush the bud. Or even just rub your hand on the branch, and you'll know that that's a black currant. So that's a nice little trick to learn about black currant. My make work bow dog decided one day there was a chipmunk in this tree, went in there, and she just wanted that chipmunk, so she actually chewed the bark off almost the whole tree. So you see the reaction. The tree is shooting up. The rootstock is growing aggressively here. A lot of shoots from the rootstock, but it's still keeping on. I don't know. There's probably a little tongue of bark holding on. And hey, you did that, eh, Bodog? Don't look so guilty. That's been a while. So she has destroyed some of the branches, some of the trees. Yeah, we did. Got some work done. Got some work done for sure. A lot of branches, a lot of pruning. That was the biggest job. Now we got yesterday we got the garden put in. Since I've had the tractor, I've been leveling some holes and using the tractor to move some hay bales around, so we'll have bales positioned for even for winter, next winter. Try to think ahead what's going on. The old apple orchard, yeah, the swallows are sitting around already. It's a little cool, not too many insects flying yet this morning, so they're just sitting. They usually sit just outside what nest they're going to use. So here's one. Oh. The 2 of you, eh? You're sitting waiting for the insects to start flying. They're probably going to use this nest box. So this is their kind of perch tree. Yeah, lots of tree swallows. Lots of song sparrows returned. That's good. Chipping sparrows. There's a song sparrow singing. There's another song sparrow. And we got a treat this year. We got a pair of Merlins that have decided to set up nest. And finally, it took me a while to figure out where they're nesting. Let's see if you can see that in the distance. What tree is it? It's a broken pine tree. Oh yeah, it's that one over there. So there's a broken pine tree that they have decided to nest in. Took a while to find that nest, but it's really it's a nice thing. See these what's this here? We're in Spartan apples. These are not nearly as advanced. They've just broken bud, and they probably won't move much this week since we're not going to go above 10 degrees. They'll just stay there and wait another week before they really progress. Kingfisher's back. Oh, and even there, we can hear that one in the distance there, somewhere over there. A house wren. So the wrens just came back yesterday. We had, like I said, on the weekend, we had a bit of a warm wind. Just to update you on these COVID-19 things. Oh, look at that. Sorry, I keep bouncing. But look at that one, a giant puffball from last year. And you still see how big that is. That's huge. That's the size of a basketball. And it collapsed already, but yeah, going through pruning some of these trees, we realized, yeah, some of these trees are done. These trees are definitely showing signs of aging. This orchard here is 40-year-old trees. They're supposed to live around 35 years. Some of them we've rebuilt. Some we're planning how to rebuild them. So many of these trees are actually beyond the rootstock. So these were on dwarf apple tree, and the rootstock has kind of been surpassed. So they're trying to be standard trees. But check that out. I mean, some of these are not in great shape. But here's one. So a tree like this one, you see that's coming out, and by the top I can see that it's not rootstock, so that's the cultivar, that's Spartan. So if this tree continues to decay and go downhill, so we keep these shoots at the base, because then we can come back and actually cut the tree down right there, right almost at right at the ground line, and we'll get a new tree out of it. So it's a way of getting some of these old trees to stay. Another branch. Why not take it off? So the grass is a little taller here. Yeah, it was so weird to see walking through here how it's all of a sudden these areas are so much bigger. Well, because the branch piles were right up to here. You can really see the line where the branches have been sitting here for many, many years. And so by pushing these up against the fence, oh, there's some geese. Canada geese. Been having between 150 and 400 geese for the last while, but they're again moving those piles, getting them a little, giving us some more room. That's nice, because with pruning and we move the branches into the sides of the orchard. And so I even remembered, oh yeah, look at that. I had planted raspberries here 20 years ago, and I'd put in an irrigation line, and now that I pushed the branches, I realized, oh, what's this pipe from? Oh yeah, that was, gee, that was a long time ago. I'll go down here. What part haven't you seen? I've shown you on some of the previous walkabouts all the different areas. This whole area is all the seeded orchard. If you go see that series of videos, some people have commented sometimes, what's that? Well, that's one of our old apple maggot fly traps. Just yeah, as I was going to say about updating about the COVID-19 situation. So we're closed to the public for everything. Normally we would have tours coming up in May, call it the Blossom Tour, in full bloom. Look at all those swallows. So normally we have the tour in the spring, but this year, no tour. It's closed. We're not doing any of that. No workshops. Oh, forgot one of those. Get it next time. So we're closed to the public. We have no events going on. These have popped, just broken bud. Empire apples. So because we can't do the tour at the farm, people have been really enjoying the virtual tour. So we did that a couple of years ago, I think it is now, yeah, 2 years ago. We filmed the virtual tour. So if some of you think, well, I'd like to do a tour, get all the explanations, learn all about how we do it and everything, well, the virtual tour does that. It's really an update to the film, the Permaculture Orchard. And so that's been a great help, moving as much as possible of the content online. So this is the time of year that these old posts break. Even broke open that nest box. Still have some fixing. We've done a lot of fixing this year, it seems. But that's good. Let me tell you about fixing. Don't be so quick to want to have stuff, because the more stuff you have, the more fixing you need to do. And so, yeah, for some of you who like stuff, well, good for you. I don't want to have much stuff, because I know that much stuff means much fixing. See these swallows? Look at them all. They're happy to be back. Oh, there's a bluebird. Maybe we can get close to it. There he goes down on the ground. Caught something. You think, what are you talking about? Oh, two of them, the pair. So they're nesting right about here. So they're right in this tree here. Right in that first tree. There he goes. They're both of them. Not one of them's gone. The males. You can really tell the difference, male and female. Let's see if I can get closer. Oh, there. So here's the female sitting right there. She's pretty well hidden because she's kind of on a little bit of blue, but on a little bit of brown. Oh, there she goes. And where's that male? He was right here. Anyway, they're blue. There's usually about 3 pairs of bluebirds. So far there seems to be 2 pair. I'm not quite sure because they move, either they're moving around a lot. There's usually 1 pair right around here. I think they're nesting. They want to use one of those. And then there's another pair somewhere down there in the beginning, and they're using, I think they're a little higher up. They're using one of those nest boxes. We did a big round of nest box building a few years ago. I put the nest box design video out recently, and that's just to give you, I mean, we've worked on nest boxes a long time, and there's some better than others over the years, and basically showed you in there and gave you the plans for the best nest box we found in terms of lasts a long time and it really just works well. Some of these gooseberries, waited a while to get these. These have been a little slow in here, but now they're looking good. They're gonna flower. Prune the black raspberries. You can go see that video on how to prune and propagate black raspberries, but these will produce quite a bit of berries. You have to be pretty hard on raspberries in order for them to produce well. So see this one, it's a big plant, and we left only 3 canes, no more than 3 canes I leave, often 2 if it's a younger plant. Oh, we left a few more on this one, so see, break my own rules. But I wasn't the only one. It was Sebastian and I pruning these. So it's normal when you start or when you're learning something, you're hesitant to be hard on the plant in terms of you think, oh, I can't take off too much. You can take off a lot. You can take off a lot. Look at this. Imagine these little chives. Here's a flower bud. Yeah, talk about a spring plant. Chives are really a spring plant, that's for sure. Oh, I did see that. Had some willows seed in here. I want to show you this. Crazy that, well, right now it's cool. We actually had the earliest willow that we have has already finished flowering. These are in peak bloom right now. On this cold, windy morning, there's not a bee to be seen. It's way too cold for them right now. And these are doing, come here, okay. These are doing nicely. This is, we call them Saskatoon berry, or in the States would call it service berry. But these are the low ones. These are the shrub type ones. Amelanchier, alnifolia. Red currant, black currant, gooseberry. So these service berry and Saskatoon berries, they should be doing well this year. We planted them quite a while ago. They're slow to get started. Takes them quite a long time to grow up. You can see there's a characteristic of some early plants. See, they almost look a little furry. If you see them, if it's not focused, they look furry. My nose gets runny in this cold weather. I guess I gotta catch it because it's running. And here's one of our bigger kiwis. I pruned them out. Finally getting some kiwis that we took some cuttings. I did a round of gathering cuttings. But see, this kiwi is up here. It's going. And it's up into the apple tree, so that's nice. More Haskap. Remember, you think, well, all these Haskap. Actually, what I did was First time we got to try them properly, I said, oh my goodness, these are so good. So we put in we propagated 3 flats of 200, so 600 cuttings we put in. They didn't all take, but we still planted out at least 250 or so. And so they're coming along. It takes a while. Some plants take a while. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your plantings, because things don't happen overnight. We're not talking about radish here. Radish 30 days. Show you the garden. Red currants. Getting ready. Oh, that one actually opened. Look at that. You think, what's that? Well, it's little red currant flowers. And there's a tip. We planted these. Actually, this is the southwest of this tree. So we planted currants and shrubs southwest of the trees, because these not honey locust actually, but our trees, especially the apple trees, had suffered sun scald in the winter. So by planting these shrubs to the southwest of the tree, we avoided sun scald on a lot of trees. And that's been a big help, big time saver. This one, the shrub is there, but the tree still suffered a little bit of damage there. Still got a little bit of sun scald. So the shrub has to be big enough and thick enough. Oh, that's nice. I see that was some of the Liatris that we transplanted in, and they're doing nicely. I wanted to show you that garden. I just got done yesterday. 2 other people locally came to help yesterday. We have so many offers for help this year. We always get people wanting to come help, but this year especially, because people are going stir crazy with all this COVID-19 restrictions, they thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to be able to come help at the farm? And so we had so many offers, but we actually refused all of them except these 2 people who they were away for a month in a cabin, and I just said, okay, you know what, you want to come help? So they did the garden yesterday. And so if you saw that the easy garden method, they just popped in. So this was what's this here? This would be lettuce. So we're using Mel Bartholomew's square foot gardening technique on the plastic. So this one is 4 per square foot. So you see the holes are in. Now lettuce, the seedlings they won't be coming too quickly, not in this weather. But that's for lettuce to come up. And let's see. Oh yeah, Stefano installed this purple martin nest box right here. That was nice, moving that. So got these in. Got this one in part of it, but we left some of the bed to actually take some of the warmer weather plants. So they put in cucumbers, so just one plant every 2 feet in here. And it's almost as easy as once the bed is set. So go see that prep of these easiest garden bed to set up. Once it's set up, and you see one of the keys about this garden is the edges. And it's so easy to have a nice edge and not have the grass invade your garden. So this is an easy way. Once the holes are done, then you can rotate a bunch of crops through it. So I like that square foot gardening technique. The irrigation is automated, so this will get water automatically every day in the season. We haven't started the watering We have started, but we haven't started watering it every day. Oh, Bodog just caught something back there. She's all the way over there. She found something, probably a vole. She just dug it up, snacking on. Oh, she's very happy with herself. She caught a vole. Come on! Come on! She loves to catch voles. Actually, she caught a rabbit's nest. I have never seen her open up a rabbit's nest, but boy, she chewed down those rabbits, baby rabbits, in a hurry. By the time I got to her, she had eaten 4 of them. And so the next day, the rabbits were all gone. The chickens have done really well over the winter, really well, and they're looking really good. They survived, not just survived, they thrived in the winter, even though they had minimal, just that was their wintering shelter, just that little shelter. Go see those chicken videos if you like. And got really happy, healthy chickens, 18 chickens, and we get 18 eggs a day, so that's really nice. Our composters have gone down tremendously. Basically, it was just apples and hay in here, so that's gone way down. So we'll have a little bit of a mess here because we pile up branches before cutting them, our wood pile before burning. So this is our fire pit, and been enjoying some late evening fires, and that's been good. The pond is holding water. We add some water once in a while, but frogs have started to move in. I actually burned around the pile around here because there was so much Phragmites invaded. And interesting to see, the chickens were eating all the char, or the pieces of charred plant. See how it's just picking pieces, it's picking floating pieces of char up. And some aquatic plants. And so, oh, they think they're going to come out already. Sorry girls, it's a little too early for you to come out. You have eggs to lay still. So, Bo, did you get your vole? Hey? Did you get your vole? I can tell you one thing, this year there will be a lot more interest for fruit, edibles. I think this virus has really helped put things in perspective. People are realizing, yeah, you know, food, growing your own food, that's pretty important. And so if you are planning on getting some fruit trees and shrubs, I'd say don't delay. I would predict that this year they will be absolutely sold out of the good stuff. Good stuff meaning the disease resistant. People will be buying disease susceptible trees just because they're probably not watching this channel. But if you want trees and shrubs easy to grow, that's the key. Get some disease resistant trees, especially shrubs, not too bad. And they really will be sold out. It's popular. I've had so many calls, and people want to get their own food. So get planting. This is the time of year, and enjoy your spring. As you saw, we didn't even have dandelions pop out yet here. Thanks for watching. Intrigued? Check out the virtual tour of the Permaculture Orchard. Have trees already? Pruningcourse.com. Subscribe, please. Check out some of the other videos or playlists. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Bye. But wherever you are, hope you enjoy the spring. Thanks for watching. God bless. Bye.